Well, hey, Future Forward, it's an honor to be with you today. I want to challenge you as leaders to go beyond intention and to lead with precision in the coming church. In the crazy disruptive 2020 year, one company that has thrived and all those that have invested in it, right, is Zoom. We all know Zoom. It's an incredible company that has skyrocketed this year. In fact, if you would have bought their stock at the beginning of the year, every dollar that you've invested at the time of recording would now be worth $8. Like, that's quite an investment in just a few months' time. And so early on in the days of the pandemic, there were a lot of investors that, rightly so, intended to buy Zoom and thinking, man, this thing is going to be really valuable as the time we're all quarantined, but it's got legs in the future as well. And so they bought into the stock symbol ZOOM. Only one problem. ZOOM stock symbol was not for Zoom video conferencing that we all know, but it was for this little known penny stock, little known company, similar name, Zoom Technologies. And so amazingly, so many people were buying it that this stock went from about $1 a share to at the very height, $60 a share when the Securities and Exchange Commission stepped in and realized there's a lot of confused investors right now. And so they suspended trading. And by the time it came back up, the stock started plummeting. And the time of recording, let me show you how much it's worth. 2 dimes, 20 cents a share. Can you imagine, by the way, if you're like, man, 2020 was rough, but at least, honey, I put all of our money, all of our retirement into Zoom, everything is good, and then you took your eyes off of it for a few months and came back and realized, oh no, I bought the wrong Zoom. 2020, you did it again. I love this illustration because it shows us that just having good intentions is not enough. I should also point out that I am not a financial advisor, so I'm not taking any trades during this message. But having good intentions alone is not enough. And I believe that as we move forward, we need to look back and realize that I don't think intention has been our problem. I think that Christianity, in large part, has been filled with good intentions. I think people are generally filled with good intentions in this world. In fact, as I look at my life, I know that every day I wake up wanting to honor and love my wife. Never do I wake up willingly thinking about how am I going to sin and make life miserable for my wife. And yet there are days, even with good intentions waking up, that I do that. Husbands and wives, when they commit to those vows on their wedding day, I really believe have good intentions to fulfill them. And yet, half of all marriages end in divorce. And the rate for Christians is the same. 92% of New Year's resolutions fail, according to John Acuff. And people come into New Year with good intentions, and a lot of those resolutions are around personal health, exercise, and diet. And yet, not only do the resolutions fail, but we go beyond that. And now we are a nation that has obesity statistics that have never been documented this high before. Collectively, Christians, I think, have had good intentions. We want to follow Jesus. We believe in him. And yet, if you look at the whole representation of who we've been as Christians, we have completely missed the mark. Not by a little bit, by a whole lot. Jesus is the one we're trying to be like. And Jesus is known for grace. Christians are known for judgment. Jesus is known for good works. We are known for hypocrisy. Jesus is known for unity. We are known for division. Jesus is known for reconciliation. We are known for segregation. And what I think 2020, in light of all the obstacles that have come, is really given us a great opportunity to, from a 30,000-foot view, look at the state of Christianity as a whole. And realize that where we were was a broken down, shadow, mediocre, watered down version of Jesus Christ. And we have to do better. What's amazing is even still today, 65% of Americans identify as Christians. And so by statistics, we are not a post-Christian nation. Like, I know what people say when they say we're a post-Christian nation, but statistically we're not. And yet somehow we've lost our voice, we've lost our influence, we've lost our representation of who Jesus is. And at the same time, we've had good intentions. And so I think intentions can be a really dangerous, even good intentions can be a really dangerous thing when we stop at just intention. And so I want to challenge you as leaders to go beyond intention and to lead with precision. Intention without precision leads to confusion. Intention without precision leads to the wrong destination. And this is what has happened in the greater church. Let me say it this way. Believing in Jesus is good. Following Jesus is great. Intending to live a life of holiness, that's good. Actually living a life of holiness, that's great. And I believe the church of the past has done an admirable job of presenting the gospel and getting someone to raise their hand at the end of a message, or online church to click a button at the end. I think we've done a good job of asking people to believe in Jesus and to take that step of faith and lead them into the waters of baptism. And yet, despite many more people coming into the faith and being baptized, we are not even close to the real representation of who Jesus is. And so here's what I want to challenge you with today. I believe that intention is good, nothing wrong with it, but it can be dangerous. And so rather than asking people and challenging your people to believe in Jesus, what if you switched it from believe in Jesus to follow Jesus? As you look at scriptures, you'll see the call of Jesus a few times was to believe in me. But far more often, what did Jesus call? What did Jesus say? Follow me. That was the great invitation, to follow after Jesus. And so as we think about moving the church forward, I want you to challenge your people to follow Jesus. And when I say follow Jesus, I mean follow Jesus, like aim directly, precisely at him. He's the bullseye. He's the one we want to be like. He's the one we're pursuing. And I think we oftentimes, in a world filled with good information, like great information, good people, great people, we can form discipleship strategies around good or great information, good or great people. But the best discipleship strategy is Jesus Christ himself. We ought to look nowhere else. I'm all for creative and innovative ways to do church and to bring the gospel, but we don't need to be innovative and creative about the best way to disciple people. The best way to follow Jesus is to follow Jesus. And so we are challenging our people beyond intent to precisely follow Jesus. Come, follow him, but follow him, because even when we follow good or great things, if we're just a little bit off, it can lead to devastating consequences, right? I intended to buy Zoom. It's got the same name, a little bit off, devastating consequences. In football, the pass from the quarterback to the receiver can be just an inch off, and yet that little space can be the difference between a touchdown or an interception for the other team. In baseball, that pitch that could be 1 inch away from being a strike or a home run, being a little bit off, can lead to devastating consequences. And so we need to challenge people to go beyond intention to truly following Jesus. I love the way the author of Hebrews writes it in Hebrews 12. He says this: since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, focusing on him, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. Some translations say the author and finisher of our faith. We stay focused. We fix our eyes precisely on him. Then it goes on to say, for the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. 2020 has been a long and difficult year. I've grown weary at times. I've lost heart at times. The way to run with endurance and to keep our hearts in the game is to be with and to follow Jesus. And so as we challenge our people to follow Jesus, it all stems and starts from our leadership. Are we following Jesus? Are you following Jesus? And so practically, what does this look like for you today? How do you go beyond intention to lead with precision in the church? I want to ask you to do 2 things. Number 1, I want you to challenge yourself to challenge your people more to follow Jesus than to believe in Jesus. The greatest spiritual growth I've had in my life is when I've taken steps of faith and I've truly followed after him in a certain way, shape, or form. Believing in Jesus is a step, but there are many, many other steps to truly follow him. So we're going to challenge our people to follow Jesus. And number 2, we're going to have clear targets of a disciple that are squarely aimed at being like Jesus. I believe that we all need a discipleship strategy. And again, Jesus is the best answer in a world filled with good and great answers. He's the best. Years ago, I looked at every command that Jesus gave, and I found what I believe are the 5 most common themes or targets, as I call them. Be, forgive, serve, give, and go. That before anything else, Jesus calls us just to be with him, to be in relationship with him. This is the first and the most important because everything that we do stems from our being with him. And then he invites us into a life of forgiving, where we receive that forgiveness for ourselves, and then in light of what God has done and the grace he's won for us, we give it away to others. And after we see how good God's been in our life, he asks us to serve. And so we use our resources and talents and gifts to serve the community and world in which we live and make it a better place. And we go past serving with our hands and feet to actually giving of our finances sacrificially. We see how important it is to give. And we go. All 4 of the Gospels and even the book of Acts ends with a commission, a call to go. Go and preach, go and proclaim, go and make disciples, go and you'll be my witnesses. And so as we implement, these are the 5 for me that I feel like precisely lead me to Jesus. These are the 5 that I check in with myself. These are the 5 that my 2 boys that I'm growing up to hopefully be disciples of Jesus, they know these 5 words. And so church leaders, pastors, go beyond intention and lead with precision. Challenge people to truly follow Jesus and give them real targets that'll aim squarely at him. And I wonder if is in this new brand of Christianity, as we reopen and reimagine what the church and Christians can be like and do, I wonder if just for a moment we would get this right, how the world might change.